Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 109 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Joey and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Great to see
Hey.
you guys again.
Fellas, it is good to see you guys. It's the best day of the year for basketball fans. First day of the March Madness tournament, and there's 16 games on over the next 2 days. It's gonna be nuts.
Yeah, the first day of
32
March
games on,
Madness.
16 a day. Sorry, 16
Yes,
per day.
yeah. There's been so much today. I mean, for especially college basketball fans. I mean, all day. I mean, it's amazing. Shout out to all the teachers that play March Madness throughout school. Those are the legends right there. Those are the legends right there. You guys have anything you want to say about day one of March Madness here before we get into the NBA stuff?
It's been a crazy, crazy day of basketball. I love it. It's like a holiday to me. I don't even have work today. I made sure I had off today. So I was like, basketball all day.
McNeese.
Shout out McNeese State and Drake for the big upsets today so far.
Crazy stuff going on, and it's just the first day. Gotta love it. We'll have a bracket type of segment coming up later to celebrate the spirit of March Madness. But first, let's get into the NBA stuff, starting off with PERTL. And guys, we need to redeem ourselves. Last episode was just awful, embarrassing, whatever you want to call it. So we need to do well on this one.
I think we got it.
We need a stellar guess on this first one to get ourselves back in this.
All right. Now, this guy has played for a couple of different teams, and he's younger. He just hit a game-winning 3 against the Portland Trailblazers. Let's go, Mikal Bridges.
Mikal Bridges.
Ooh,
all right.
Okay.
I like it. All right.
And nothing.
That's it. No, so this is the thing. Even when there's nothing, we can still get something out of this. So we know this is a Western Conference big guy that's older and wears a high jersey number.
And probably a forward.
Yes, probably an older forward that is probably wearing a number above. Well, is wearing a number that's 28 or above. In his 30s.
I know you threw out Zubac last time, and we just had a Laker or a Clipper.
Well, Zubac wouldn't be in his 30s yet, would he? I feel like he's like 28, 29.
I feel like he's 28, something like that.
What about Steven Adams?
Steven Adams, I think he wears the number 12.
Okay.
All right, old guys, old big guys,
old taller guys.
DeAndre Ayton?
No, he's still. Let's see. I'll throw out a guess. Oh, who was I just thinking of? Kelly Olynyk.
Oh yeah,
Kelly Olynyk. I was talking about him.
Does he play on what does he play on?
Pelicans.
For the Pelicans.
Oh.
Pelicans now. He's played for a ton of teams. He's going to wear a high. Let's try it. Oh, I thought he wore the number 41 still. That's on me. Okay.
He's very old.
Yeah. What the heck?
Huh. Who's a vet?
Kevin Durant? Like 6'10".
Kevin Durant is in play.
A forward.
Yeah.
Higher jersey number.
Let's try Kevin Durant. That might be. I think that might be it. Let's try KD. All right, 35 or 34, but has played for the Suns before,
and still a higher jersey number than 35
in the Pacific Division. So we've got all the California teams. That's all it can be. It's all the California teams. We got a thumbs up over here.
I feel like it's the Kings or the Clippers.
Yeah, I feel like this might be Jay Crowder, but I don't think he's 6'9" or 6'10". He's on the Kings, and he's played for the Suns. But I want to get this in for
Played for the Suns. Ben Simmons.
Stop.
Sacramento.
Always got to throw a Ben Simmons guess in PERTL.
I think it has been Ben Simmons before.
I think
maybe one episode. I'm just trying to think. I mean, Jay Crowder. The only thing that I'm a little worried about is the height, but I feel like that would make sense.
I'm cool with Crowder.
Yeah, because I mean, Lakers. I mean, there's no LeBron's the old guy on the Lakers. There's no really other veterans. The Warriors
played for Phoenix though.
Yeah, right.
That's the only confusing part. I'm trying to think of who played for Phoenix.
I'm confused too.
I
mean, if Kelly Olynyk is listed as 6'11", it's possible Jay Crowder's
like 6'9". He'd have to be like 6'9". Let's try Jay Crowder. Let's see if it is. And if not, okay. At least we're getting better guesses this time than just every like bad Clipper. Okay. So it's a Laker, a Clipper, or a Warrior.
He's 35.
35.
The Lakers, Clippers, Warriors.
Laker.
Could it be Kevon Looney? No, it's not that old.
No, he's been with the Warriors this whole time.
And he'd be number 5. I mean, Markieff Morris is on the Lakers.
Markieff Morris would work.
Yeah.
He hasn't played. He's played for the Suns, but I don't believe he hasn't played for any of those teams. Let's try Keith Morris. All right.
I was like, that's got to be it. Yeah.
Markieff Morris. All right. Got it in 5. But
number
I think
88?
That was yeah, number 88. He's had some interesting numbers. But I already I think that was way better than the last one. We're making up for last time. We've gone from 6 to 5. Next episode, we'll get in 4.
I was going to say, at least this time we didn't like give up and couldn't think. We were at least on the right track the whole time.
Yeah, we were on the right track the whole time. But let us know down below how long it took you guys to get Markieff Morris, the old man.
Cavs legend.
Oh, that's his brother.
Oh, Marcus Morris was on the Cavs. My bad.
Marcus, brother. Yeah, those two. Remember, the Morris twins were on the Suns for a little bit there.
Yeah.
A little bit. That was the time there. But
love their
let's get into the NBA a little bit. Not a whole lot of crazy news or stories since our last episode, which I mean is perfect because I mean it's perfect time for March.
Storm is brewing.
Correct, and Storm could be brewing for when we get into postseason time. Still a few weeks away.
What the Storm's brewing on? Storm is brewing on them Cleveland Cavaliers. 3 straight L's.
Stop.
Let's talk about it.
Let's
talk about it. The Cavs have lost their last 3 games following a 16-game losing streak, losing to the Magic on Sunday that we already talked about at home, and then back-to-back to the Clippers and the Kings, both on the road. I guess, well, Nick, you brought them up. What do you want to talk about regarding the Cavs losing streak? Are you worried at all about this stretch?
The thing that they should be worried about is the thing that we talked about in the last pod, which is keeping that home court advantage throughout the entirety of the playoffs, throughout the finals. So worried from a on-court standpoint, no, but worried from like a from that perspective and how that kind of affects them if they were to win 3 Eastern Conference series, 3, right?
Yeah,
to get to the finals. And then I just feel like that would be sort of like a psychological hurdle that they are in control of, that they can fix. But we talked about them going on the road trip, not it being super ominous, like a super challenging couple of teams. But you go out to LA and drop one in the Intuit Dome, and then losing to Sacramento is not great any night if you're 56-10.
Yeah, the Kings game was the one that I was a little concerned with. I honestly, throughout the entire season, when I saw that this West road trip was in March, I was expecting the whole year that we would lose to the Clippers in that game. It was the Magic game from Sunday and the Kings game that were a little bit frustrating. The Magic game, I mean, they just missed a lot of shots from 3.
Like we talked about, Sunday morning game in Cleveland, no Mobley.
Yeah, the scheduling was a little iffy, but whatever. The Kings game was a little bit, off. No Levine, no Sabonis. Cavs didn't have Garland, but still, I mean, they have enough to win. Evan Mobley went crazy on the offensive end. The big thing these last 3 games is that the defense in the fourth quarter has not been up to the par that we've seen all season. I mean, this team has been ridiculous in the clutch all season long. It's a huge reason why in the few close games that they've had, they've been on the right side of those results because they've been able to stop teams, and also players like Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland are able to get going. And I mean, in the month of March, Donovan Mitchell is kind of struggling a little bit shooting the ball. Now, I will say, I'm not really thinking that we should really be overreacting to this stretch. I think that it could honestly be a good thing that they're facing some adversity during the regular season on a road trip because they have not had to deal with it all season. And the first time that you deal with adversity should not be in the playoffs, theoretically. For team building purposes, you kind of want to have that time in the regular season to kind of get through those rough moments. And so that way you can be prepared in the playoffs when it does happen. I will say it is very interesting, though, with this team that this entire season has kind of been like, all right, we're going to have a historic winning streak, then lose like 2 or 3 in a row. It's happened for every single one, because the Cavs started the season 15-0, then dropped 3 of the next 5 before going on like a 12-game winning streak, then losing a few games when they lost to the Rockets twice, which Goglin can't get enough about that. And then following that, they go 20-1 in the next 21 games, and now we're on another 3-game losing streak. So we'll see if they can bounce back with another push kind of to end the season. Because at the end of the day, they are still playing for that number 1 overall seed in the whole league, but they still have a substantial lead in the Eastern Conference, which is still probably one of the more important things, because you need to get past the Celtics.
I tend to agree with you on that one. It's not really worrisome. It's better to face adversity in the playoff or in the regular season than the playoffs. I think we're just in a cold stretch. It sucks that we're hitting a cold stretch now, like before the playoffs. Hopefully it doesn't carry in, and hopefully we get warmed back up. But like for right now, it's not that bad. The road trips, especially out west, are always tough. Western Conference teams are always a little better than the Eastern Conference ones. I had a feeling we'd drop 1 or 2. Glad it's the Kings, I guess.
Yeah, it will be important for them to take care of business over these next 3 games. Yeah. They play at Phoenix tonight, and then at Utah, at Portland on Sunday and Tuesday. So, I mean, the Jazz and Blazers games should be definite wins, and so should the Suns, with how on and off they've been. But they've won their last couple. Either way, I'm not too terribly worried about the Cavs. They got enough time to figure out the defensive issues. And like Joey said, we're kind of at the doldrum part of the season where it can be easy to kind of lose your edge. You have a 6-game lead in the East. You want everyone to be healthy. The Cavs are changing lineups every game to make sure that they're healthy for the playoffs. Stretches like this are bound to happen at this point.
See, that's why it's like okay, because like I don't know. I'd rather have it now than later. And it's like, if you're taking it easy now, all these Western Conference teams you're playing, Sacramento, Phoenix, maybe Portland, a lot of these teams are still got stuff to fight for. Like they're still trying to play hard. Clippers too. Like they're giving you their best.
Yeah, these 3 losses to Magic, Clippers, and Kings, these are 3 desperate teams that are trying to get good seeding for the playoffs.
Exactly.
So and obviously playing well. I mean, that Clippers game, I'll tell you, I don't know if the Clippers were going to lose on that night to anyone with the way that Kawhi Leonard played. I mean, that was his best game of the season. And when you see games like that where Kawhi's going, Zubats is having 28 and 20 against, 2 bigs. He's actually had some of his best games against Defensive Player of the Year candidates this year. And then obviously Harden and Norman Powell. When the Clippers get into the postseason, it's going to be hard. They're not going to be, an easy out, in the first round because of all that experience. And if Kawhi can give you – Kawhi and Harden could be giving you flashback games, at any moment. They're definitely a dangerous team going forward.
What I would say about the Cavs, you kind of mentioned it, is like watching them in the last couple weeks here. I'd be looking for like Donovan's sharpness. Like you're saying, he's kind of not shooting the ball great right now. In the past, like I know last year he was hurt going into the playoffs a little bit. He missed a lot of games, but he's going to be the main key, offensive guy for the Cavs throughout the postseason. So he needs to be sharp going into the playoffs. 2 years ago, I was just looking through his game logs. He had 4 40-point games in the last 4 regular season games of the year going into those playoffs. So I would look to see like if he can get it going and like look sharp going into the playoffs, because that would be important for the Cavs.
Yeah, no question about it. I forgot about that stretch before that.
That's
Knicks
a good
series.
tell. Just him having a couple going off games right before the playoffs start.
Yeah, and that might be the time where he ramps himself up a little bit. I mean, some numbers. Donovan Mitchell, in the 7 games he's played in the month of March, He's averaging 23 points, shooting 36% from the field and 20% from three. He's one of several Cavs that have struggled. I mean, Garland has struggled shooting. Ty Jerome a little bit. He's only shooting 24% from three. So I think we're just the Cavs are at a bit of a rough point shooting. They're kind of regressing a little bit back to the mean shooting wise, but either way, still a while to go. They have a nice lead in the Eastern Conference. We'll see if they can, hold up, if they can get that top record in the overall league. But just being healthy is the most important, but you don't want to lose your good habits on the floor, trying to make sure everyone is healthy. I think that would be the main concern.
Agreed.
Another team that has been sliding down the Eastern Conference for several weeks is the Miami Heat, man. Sliding down, man. They've lost their last 9 games, which is the longest in Eric Spoelstra's career, his coaching career. This is the longest losing streak. I believe previously his longest losing streak was like 6 in a row. They've lost 9 in a row now. They're now 29-40 on the season, 11 games below 500, tied with the Chicago Bulls for that 10th and final play-in spot. And the Bulls actually have the tiebreaker. So Miami is sitting at the 10th spot in the Eastern Conference. Nick, what do you think? What is going on? What do you think's going on?
I don't have a good answer for you. What's disturbing and disappointing is like when you were moving on from Jimmy Butler, that was supposed to be like getting rid of the headache and kind of clearing the runway for the guys who were there, and like that problem's out the window. Let's focus on basketball. And since they've been focusing on basketball, the basketball has just been awful.
Yeah, straight up. It just has not been, really pretty at all. I mean, the shooting's been a little bit rough. They've gotten outscored by 11 points per game over this stretch as well, so not really close games at all. I mean, definitely
it's their fourth quarter, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe. Yeah, fourth quarters they've struggled. I mean, they struggled in a few fourth quarters, I believe.
It almost makes you think if they're, that Miami front office. I mean, like they know what they know what they're doing. If you play competitive ball for 3 quarters and you need a higher draft spot, like maybe there's some conversations about what's going on in the fourth quarter.
Maybe that's their plan. I mean, that could definitely be their plan. I mean, let's see if their future draft picks. Let's see. They do not have their own first round pick. At least from this, they have the Warriors' top 10 protected first round pick from the Jimmy Butler trade. But I'm trying to find where they're. Oh, is this lottery? Okay, it's lottery protected to Oklahoma City. The Thunder just have all those teams. The Heat, the Sixers. Even the Rockets, who we'll get to later, but the Rockets playing great. We'll talk about them. But, yeah, I mean, the plan is potentially to get into the lottery. I mean, we might be in a very weird situation in the Eastern Conference where that 9-10 play-in game, neither team wants to win that game because they want to get into the lottery. It's kind of a weird situation with the Heat and the Bulls there. But the Bulls have actually been kind of winning games recently. We've talked about Josh Giddey, how well he's been playing in the last episode. So it's just a rough season in Miami. We're not used to seeing stuff like this from Miami at all. Right. So it's just kind of odd to see everything going on. I guess, I mean, the plan the rest of the way. I mean, the good thing is over the last month, if there's anything you could take away from really the last month or so since the Jimmy trade, is that Bam Adebayo has looked back to normal. He's been fantastic on the offensive end, defensively solid as well. You just focus on developing, Kel'el Ware and Bam together in the front court. Davion Mitchell now there. He's been playing well for the Heat. Getting the lottery pick and then kind of just resetting yourself for next year. I think when we get to the offseason, once this whole mess of a year is over for Miami, you're going to hear a lot of the players saying that it was just a rough season and they kind of need the offseason to reset a little bit. I mean, in the moment, it's just, really difficult.
That's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm thinking like the Jimmy Butler stuff is still kind of hanging over them a little bit, like, which kind of sucks and kind of a little off to me, just because like you would expect like Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, like they've been there, done that before, like to get their players, but it seems kind of lost. So a good hard kind of reset going into next year. You got an all-star and hero for most of the year. Bam, like you said, is playing better.
Should be an all-star.
Should be an all-star. Like, run it back next year. There's no shame in that. So Yeah, it is kind of weird that the 9 and 10 are both like, nah, we're good.
And the fact that one of those teams is the Miami Heat.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
we'll see what happens the rest of the way going forward. I mean, this is how bad the Eastern Conference is. They're still 5 games ahead of Toronto, who's risen up to 11. So I mean, the Heat would really have to tank hard to not be in the play-in whatsoever.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's going to happen. I mean, they probably will make the play-in tournament unless something crazy happens. But and we like I've said before, we'll have a future episode where we preview every lottery team's offseason. That video is going to be kind of crazy. Where we're going to have teams like the Heat, the Sixers, the Suns, and maybe the Mavs talking about them, as all as lottery teams. It's crazy how the season has really turned out. But let's get on to a bit of a more upbeat point here and talk about the Houston Rockets, man. Got to talk about Goglin's Houston Rockets. Hasn't been able to come on for a little while, but we got to give his Rockets some love. Hottest team in the NBA. They've won their last 8 games, a lot of them crazy finishes. They are 20 games above 500 and a game ahead of the Lakers and Nuggets for the 2nd seed in the Western Conference. Nick, we've talked about it before. The Rockets, it's almost like we're kind of searching for ways to dismiss them and not believe in them, and they just keep on winning. It's going to be hard to not believe in them come playoff time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on the bandwagon. I had them out of the playoffs in the preseason rankings. I was definitely wrong about that. They were the one team that I had out that I was trying to get in but couldn't. So like I had the imagination to know that this was possible. Maybe not 20 games over 500 possible,
2
but
seed is crazy.
they're doing it with defense. So they're doing it with defense and rebounding and toughness. And then they got, Jalen Green and LP, and Fred VanVleet is still very good with the basketball. So I think they got weapons on that side too.
I don't know. According to Goglin, I heard so much about how Jalen Green sucks the last game. So I feel like on his behalf, I have to say that. But no, I'm with you. The Rockets have been playing fantastic. Regardless of how much crap I like to give Goglin, he's kind of made me a Houston Rockets fan, and I do like to root for them. I wish nothing but goodness upon them.
Yeah, I've been over the last few years, I've been enjoying the rebuild and the makeup of this team. I mean, they have a deep team. I mean, so that's what I was going to get to. So, I mean, they've been great this regular season, and it's been because of, the two Ds, defense and depth. That's how they've been winning games all season long. Joey, how do you think the Rockets could fare come playoff time? Obviously, we still have a while to go here. But what do you think the Rockets could really do in the playoffs? Because if there's any concern that I would have, there is not a scenario where they would have the best player in a series because they're just so deep and they don't have – Şengün's an all-star, but he's kind of an all-star because of the Rockets' success. Obviously, he's having a good year, but he's more so of an all-star because of the overall season that the team is having. How do you think the Rockets could fare come playoff time?
I don't know. They're very hard to tell because obviously they've been playing great all season, but this will be their first time in the playoffs. Like, we thought they would have been in the play-in last year, and they barely missed it. But, like, this year, they're going to be full and well in the playoffs. Like, this is going to hit them like a Mack truck, I think. But the thing is, they do have a really good coach and who's been there and done that. So, like, if you want anyone on his hands on the wheel, it's Udoka, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I think they could go maybe a series or two, but like, I don't know. I feel like this is just a big learning experience. It's great for them to get the experience, but it's kind of how I was with the Cavs like a couple of years ago, where we kind of came out of nowhere and kind of got like a 4 seed and got home. It's like, we're good. It's like, it's a good experience, but like, I don't think we're there yet. I don't think they're there yet, but regardless of how they did, they should be very proud of the season and the experience they're going to get in the playoffs, because that is invaluable for how young they are.
Yeah, no question. I mean, even if they finish up as the 2 seed, because it's so competitive over there that they aren't the 2 seed. But even if they're the 2 seed and they get upset by the 7th seed, which is a possibility, I think that a lot of people would pick the Clippers or Timberwolves or Warriors in a series against Houston. because of the experience. Even if that were to happen, this is still a success of a season, no matter what happens the rest of the way.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, oh no, you have to play the Clippers. Oh, you're going against Harden and Kawhi Leonard and Ty Lue, the coach. Or you're going to go against Steph Curry and Steve Kerr, or Ant Edwards and the Wolves last year were in the conference. Like, all these teams that you possibly are going to play, they have way more experience than you. They know what they're getting into.
But the Rockets have had success against seemingly every team in the league this season, besides the Brooklyn Nets. They're the Atlanta Hawks for the Cavs. That's the Rockets version of them. Nick, what do you think? Do you have any other thoughts?
Yeah, I agree that it's difficult to sort of predict this team because I could see them getting bounced in 5 games in the first round, but I could also see them winning 2 series and going to the Western Conference Finals. As far as the point about not having the best player on the court in any series, I think that's valid. What I think has potential to be an X factor and sort of mitigate that fact is Amen Thompson, and he can guard somebody and bring down their level. And if he can do that, and that, like, levels out sort of that aspect of the game, if he can bring Kawhi down to just, 15 and 8 rather than 25 and whatever, 5 and 5.
Yeah, no question. I mean, yeah, to that point with the Rockets not having the best player in any series they go into, I mean, that's what it'll look like on paper, but on the floor,
Right.
I think I completely agree. It comes down to Amen Thompson, because he would be part of allowing maybe a Green or Şengün, or maybe Amen Thompson himself, to be the best player in a series with his two-way ability and slowing down the opposing best player.
Fill in the blank, right?
Yeah, so that's certainly, a possibility. Either way, I'm just really excited for the Houston Rockets first round series. I mean, whichever series they get into, I mean, they may be the best first round series. I mean, I think every series in the Western Conference that we're going to get in the first round could be a treat. I just can't wait for it.
This playoffs is going to be something else. I can't wait for it. Regardless of Western Conference, Eastern Conference in the later rounds.
Yeah, and I've had a little chance to talk to Jackson about. We haven't all been on, but just what a time it is this season where both the Cavs and the Rockets have surged up this much. It's been fun for us individually as fans to kind of have our teams jumping up like this. I mean, these are 2 of the top 4 records in basketball. Who would have? I don't know if anyone could have expected that coming in.
If we get a Rockets Cavs NBA Finals, we have to do like a live podcast from like downtown, like in the square between the stadiums.
We'll go to every game.
Just a pregame show. We don't even have to have tickets. We'll just be watching at the watch party outside.
Yeah, a long way to go
Sweet.
for that. Well, that would definitely be crazy.
We can dream.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Nick, before we move on to our segment here, any other team or anything else that you kind of want to talk about in the standings?
The Wolves have been dropping games like flies. How do you lose to the Pelicans right now?
And the Pacers without Halliburton and Turner and Siakam.
You were mentioning that in the pre-pod lobby, Miles.
I was. That's what this team is so frustrating, man, because it's just inconsistent, man, because they were looking great over the last, they were on an 8-game winning streak. We were talking about them like, man, maybe they're getting back up into that range, which they maybe still can, but then they're
undefeated with Julius Randle.
Right. And then then they have back-to-back losses like that, and it's like, man, that's just got to be so frustrating.
Agreed. What about the Knicks? Are you a little worried about them?
The New York Knicks.
I know as we recorded this, they just lost to the Hornets.
Well,
good amount.
This is something I don't think we've ever actually talked about this. So they've been without Jalen Brunson for a good week or so with an ankle sprain that was suffered in that crazy Knicks-Lakers game a little while back. So he hasn't been playing. He's expected to return before the playoffs, but obviously that's had an impact, on the Knicks team. They've lost their last 2. They still have a 3-game lead on the Pacers for the 3rd seed, but Pacers have been rising and playing well. So New York needs to be careful here.
Do you think that Brunson will be hurt and impacted by that come playoff time? Like, are we going to have the Knicks again hurt going into the playoffs?
That's a good question.
That's not good. That's showing Tibbs' way of playing everybody 40 minutes ain't the way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to tell, right? Because, like, even going back to all the injuries they faced last year and even this Brunson injury, these are all, like, ankle turns and, like, things like hip injuries, elbow injury. Nothing that has to do with you're running your guy. These are fluke injuries that could happen at any time.
Yeah.
So that's what makes, that point so difficult. I don't know. I don't know. That's definitely something to watch for.
Yeah.
Going forward. I mean, the New York Knicks, they're hopeful that Brunson can play in a few games before the season. He's going to be checked out again today as as this comes out, which would be about 2 weeks since the injury against the Lakers game. Tibbs expects Brunson to be back to play some games before the playoffs start. But again, that's, only 2 or 3 games going in against a hard-fought series against potentially a Pistons team who's been great defensively. Is going to be difficult.
And the Pistons, you better be physically healthy for that because they're going to be physical.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, even on their end, if there's a Pistons-Knicks first-round series, JB Bickerstaff will be telling them he has that experience with it first time in the playoffs and the big guys not being as physical as they need to. That will not be a problem with this Pistons team because of the players and that experience being added on. I'm sure he's telling them about that if that is a series.
Agreed.
But yeah, man, well, I'm sure things will be changing a lot, and hopefully we'll get some more word on Brunson in the next episode after his reevaluation. But now moving on to the main point of the show, in the spirit of March Madness, I have created a 50-team bracket here that we are all going to try and figure out here. It's every single state in the country and their all-time starting 5 for all 50 states. I have the written thing here. I'll fill it out as we go along so that we have them all. I have all the starting 5s here. And we're going to see which state has the best starting 5.
We're biased to Ohio. Let's just be upfront.
Yeah, we're all
okay. We're a little biased towards Ohio, but when right off the bat you're thinking LeBron and Steph Curry, how much more bias can you get?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the top teams. So I went through, I did every single starting 5 for for some teams the starting 1 or starting 2 because of the limited players in the state. And then after I got all the starting 5s, I went through and kind of seeded it out myself to kind of have a general idea. So we'll see if we have any upsets, in these first few rounds. So with the bracket that I've gotten off of printyourbrackets.com, shout out to them. Out of the 50 teams, let's see, the top 14 seeds all get a first round bye. So because there are so many teams. So first off, I guess we'll start with the 15th seed versus the 50. So we have the 15th seed, which is Florida, versus the 50th seed, Wyoming.
Should we have me and Joey each vote for a state and then you're the tiebreaker, or do like that?
Yeah, you guys vote, and if you guys split on it, then I'll be the tiebreaker.
Okay, just because I already know who is the one person on Wyoming.
Yeah, we'll go. So Wyoming only has one player. That's why it's in the. Well, there are a lot of teams that, or no, they are the only team I think has one player. Or no, they're one of 2. Okay, so Wyoming is James Johnson. James Johnson for the 50th seed versus Florida.
Let's hear it.
Gilbert Arenas, Mitch Richmond, Tracy McGrady, Artis Gilmore, and David Robinson. These early ones are going to be easy.
I'll go Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. Now hear me out. No, it's definitely Florida.
James Johnson with his fighting ability.
Hear me out. James Johnson fights everybody.
Correct. So, all right. So now we'll go to the 16 versus 49. Arkansas versus Idaho. So Arkansas, the 16th seed, has Fat Lever, Sidney Moncrief, Glenn Rice, Scottie Pippen, and Joe Barry Carroll. Versus, let's see, Idaho. with Luke Riddenhauer, Charlie Black, and Steve Hayes.
I'll go Arkansas.
Easy Arkansas pick right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Again, all these are going to be simple, but some of these states are just
Luke
Riddenhauer.
players.
Yeah, I was gonna say, shout out Luke Riddenhauer though.
Yeah, Luke Riddenhauer. Yeah. All right. So next up, we got 17 versus 48. Alabama versus New Hampshire. Alabama has Eric Bledsoe, Jeff Malone, Charles Barkley, George McGinnis, and Ben Wallace versus New Hampshire with Matt Bonner. That's it. That's the only player from New Hampshire.
So Matt Bonner, you had higher ranked than Riddenauer and Fat Lever, whoever the heck else.
No,
it was just Luke Ridden. I gave Matt Bonner's career over those three guys combined with the Chiefs.
That's fair, actually.
All right, so now we got 18.
Alabama, right?
18 versus 47. So we got Indiana versus Rhode Island. Indiana with Darius Garland, Gordon Hayward, Larry Bird, Zach Randolph, and Sean Kemp.
Now there's a starting five.
There's a good starting five right there versus Rhode Island with Ernie Calverley, David Duke Jr., Cole Swider, and Marvin Barnes. There are a whole lot of players in here there are a whole lot of bench warmers in this set. But now we go to 19 versus 46, Tennessee versus Montana. So Tennessee's got Oscar Robertson, Penny Hardaway, Bobby Bingo Smith, Bailey Howell, and James Wiseman for Tennessee versus Montana with Adam Morrison, Phil Jackson, and Mike Lewis.
Bro, bringing up Adam Morrison in March Madness is just right.
Yes. So there's Tennessee, and this is also you guys with all these higher seeds obviously moving on here early. Keep in mind the states here. You kind of have in your mind a little bit who could advance because so far there's definitely a decent amount of
Arkansas, Alabama, Indiana.
Florida
has got a good team.
And Tennessee has moved on. All right, now we go to 20 versus 45, Kentucky versus Alaska. Kentucky has Rajon Rondo, Allen Houston, Daryl Griffith, Dave Cowens, and Wes Unseld. That's the big name in there. And then Alaska with the two players, Mario Chalmers and Dacian Nix.
Okay, I would never have known Mario Chalmers is from Alaska. That could be a trivia question. Somewhere.
One of two players.
I'll go Kentucky.
Easy Kentucky. Okay, now 21 versus 44, Washington State versus New Mexico. Washington with John Stockton, Zach LaVine, Jamal Crawford, Paolo Banchero, and Byron Beck. They had no centers besides Byron Beck, who I think played in the 60s or 70s. And then New Mexico, I can't believe I was able to make a 5 out of these players. Cedric Jackson, Andre Robertson, Damian James, Bill Bridges, and Alex Kirk. Alex Kirk, Cavs legend.
Legend. Yo.
Byron Beck was an all-star in 76 miles.
He was? He was an all-star?
Put some respect on his name.
Did you know who he was?
2-time all-star.
Dang, he was a baller.
Dang, shout out Byron Beck.
All right, sorry for the disrespect. All right. 22
averaged
versus
15
40.
and 11 1 year. Wow.
Yeah, there are a lot of these guys that had really good careers early on. Number 22 versus number 43. You've got West Virginia versus South Dakota. West Virginia's team is Darren Williams, OJ Mayo, Jerry West, Hal Greer, and Gary Greger. Might be Gary. I think it's Greger. I think that was the name. And then South Dakota with Mike Miller.
That's the only one.
I also have John Sundvold and Med Park. There's some all-time names coming out of here, man.
I'm surprised you put Darren Williams over Jason Williams. Isn't White Chocolate from there too?
I think he was from somewhere else, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Because I think I saw Jason Williams in an area where it was stacked at.
I just remember watching Rand University with
Oh no,
Brandon
he is from West Virginia. I gave Darren Williams was a multiple-time All-Star. You know, him versus Chris Paul at one day or at one age.
All right. Cavs legend Darren Williams.
Yeah, that is the complete opposite of a Cavs legend. All right, moving on here. 23 versus 42. We've got Missouri versus Maine.
Wow, 2 relevant states finally.
Yes.
Can we put Cooper Flag on there already?
Let's see who's even on Maine so far. I guess we'll start with Maine. Oh yeah, Maine has only 2 players, so Cooper Flag would be the 3rd player. Maine has Duncan Robinson and Jeff Turner, and Missouri has JoJo White, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, David Lee, and Gene Moore.
Yeah, I'll go with Missouri.
Mizzou.
So we'll go with Mizzou.
Even though they lost today.
24 versus 41.
Shout out Drake.
Minnesota versus Delaware. Minnesota with Jalen Suggs, Dick Garmaker, Devin George, Kevin McHale, and Chet Holmgren.
That makes sense.
Versus Delaware with Walt Hazard, AJ English, Dante DiVincenzo, Joey Graham, and Jalen Duran.
Man, you got a starting 5 out of that team.
I know.
Give me Minnesota.
Minnesota.
25 versus 40. We've got Oklahoma versus Nebraska.
All right.
Oklahoma with Mark Price, John Starks, Josh Richardson, Blake Griffin, and Wayman Tisdale. Against Nebraska with, this Kenny Sailors, Fred Hoiberg, JT Thor, Bob Boozer, and Dave Hoppin. Some of these teams that have higher ranks is because I was actually able to make a full starting 5.
That's fair, though.
They actually had enough players.
JT Thor, man. Shout out.
Yeah, former Cav. All right, almost done with these boring first-round easy matchups. 27 versus 38. Colorado versus Hawaii. Colorado with
I think you skipped one.
What?
I think you skipped 26-39.
Oh, I did. 26-39. Yeah, good call. Good call, Nick. We've got Wisconsin versus Kansas. 26 Wisconsin.
Now, this is a March Madness matchup.
This is.
So Wisconsin has Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, Latrell Sprewell, Jalen Johnson, and Jim Jones.
Hey.
Got 3 out of 5.
And then, let's see, Kansas. If I can get to Kansas, has Lucius Allen, Warren Jabali, Scott Wedman, Ron Franz, and Alvin Adams. Alvin Adams is the only name I got out of that. I'm surprised, honestly. It doesn't really correlate, but with Kansas being such a good, basketball program, there's no one from Kansas originally.
Wisconsin.
All right, now we got Colorado versus Hawaii at the 27 versus 38. So Colorado has Chauncey Billups, Derek White, J-Dub, Joe Klein, and Jason Smith versus Hawaii. Only has 2 players, but one of them was a multiple-time All-Star, so he's up this high. Cedric Ceballos and Red Racha. So I had to give a Cedric Ceballos his love for being an All-Star from Hawaii. So
Yeah.
shout out to Cedric Ceballos. Next up, we've got 28 versus 37. My goodness. With Mississippi versus North Dakota. Mississippi with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Monte Ellis, Chet Walker, Spencer Haywood, and Al Jefferson.
Spencer Haywood.
That's a good squad right there, I ain't gonna lie.
Versus North Dakota with Tyler Johnson, Dalton Connect, Glenn Hansen, Doug McDermott, and Mark Landsberger.
Dougie McBuckets.
I'll still go Mississippi.
Yeah.
Mississippi. All right, only a few more left here. We've got 29 versus 36. Maryland versus Nevada. Maryland with, yes.
Spencer Haywood was the MVP and Rookie of the Year in the same season.
That's crazy. Shout out Spencer Haywood, man.
Dude, shout out Spencer.
He averaged 30 and 20
his rookie season.
his rookie year.
What year? What year?
This is 69-70. He played 84 games and 45.3 minutes per game.
Man, averaged
Crazy.
30 minutes over us.
That's the fun part. We're learning about all these older players. All right, now Maryland versus Nevada. So Maryland's got Steve Francis, Reggie Lewis, Josh Hart, Jeff Green, and Marvin Webster.
Okay.
And then Nevada has Greg Anthony, Ricky Davis, Julian Strother, Pat Garrity, and Zach Collins. Five solid players.
Why do I low-key want to give it to Nevada?
Let's see what Maryland with Steve Francis, Reggie Lewis, Josh Hart, Jeff Green, and Marvin Webster versus Greg Anthony, Ricky Davis, Julian Strother, Pat Garrity, and Zach Collins. This is our first close call.
I'd probably have to go with Nevada.
Dude, GA and Ricky Davis are jumping out of the building in that
And you
game.
got Zach Collins.
All right, we're going Nevada. There's our first upset.
Let's go.
36 upsetting 2029.
All right.
There's our first upset.
Now we're
All right.
cooking.
Yeah, and now we're in our, the closest first round matchups here. We've got 30 versus 35, Oregon versus Utah. Oregon with Damon Stoudemire, Terrence Ross, Jeremy Grant, AC Green, and DeMontis Sabonis.
Oh, that's the squad.
Versus Utah with Byron Scott, Sam Merrill, Jeff Judkins, shout out to Goglin, you'll know who that is, John Collins, and Tom Chambers.
That's Oregon.
That's a squad too, but yeah, I know.
Oregon. Sam Merrill kind of brings Utah down a little bit. Sorry, Sam Merrill. Sorry.
Love you, Sam.
we love you, Sam. All right, final two first-round matchups. We're almost done with the first round, and then it gets to the real fun. 31 versus 34, Connecticut versus Arizona.
Another potential real matchup.
Yeah. Connecticut, we've got Calvin Murphy, John Williamson, Ryan Gomes, Charles Smith, and Marcus Camby. Versus Arizona with Jared Bayless, Matisse Thybulle, Sean Elliott, Mark Allery, and Marvin Bagley. A lot of current players, but
Arizona.
No, I have to give it to UConn.
Let's
It's
see.
not UConn. It's the state of Connecticut.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Sorry, watching too much basketball, college basketball.
Connecticut.
Mark Allery, Villanova legend.
Connecticut. I've got to give it to Connecticut. Just Calvin Murphy and Marcus Camby. That is a duo.
Dominant.
Right? Midget versus defensive player of the year. I think Marcus Camby. I think won defensive player of the year. One year.
Yeah, you better watch that M word.
And then the final first round matchup: 32 versus 33, Massachusetts versus Iowa. Massachusetts. Michael Carter Williams, Vinny Del Negro, Bruce Brown, George Niang, and Bill Lambier
Oh, squad.
for Massachusetts. And then Iowa has Kirk Heinrich, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Rafe LaFrentz, and Kevin Cunnert.
Massachusetts for me.
I'm giving it to Iowa.
Vinny Del Negro, game changer.
Let's see.
Joey, that was your guy in the old Portland team.
Vinny Del Negro.
Massachusetts. MCW,
Portland.
Vinny Del Negro, Bruce Brown, Niang, and Bill Lambier versus Kirk Heinrich, Keegan Murray, Harrison Barnes, Rafe LaFrentz, and Kevin Cunnert. This is tough. This is actually tough. Joey, what are you looking up?
I'm looking up Rafe LaFrentz real quick.
Yeah, he was one of the original, I think, stretch
guy.
fours, I think. I know everyone loves his card on 2K.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. His best year was averaging 15 and 7 in 2001. Yikes. Yeah, maybe
You mean
not.
Massachusetts?
I think Massachusetts.
Massachusetts moving on. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So that ends the first round. Only a few close matchups, but now we can get into the good stuff. And now we can reveal actually these top 14 teams now. All right, so I guess we'll start off with the number 1 versus, I guess, now number 32. So the number 1 seed for this whole thing is California versus Massachusetts. So Massachusetts with Michael Carter Williams, Vinny Del Negro, Bruce Brown, George Niang, and Bill Lambier versus California. Yeah, these first few ones are definitely going to be tough to get upsets in. California with Jason Kidd, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Love, and Bill Walton.
Cali.
Easy, yeah. California. That's going to be one that's tough to beat, especially I could have made like 3 different teams out of different states. California is ridiculous. As far as like the depth of players, California would kill this, but it's just starting 5. So we got California moving on over Massachusetts. So now we'll go to, let's see, 16 versus 17, Alabama versus Arkansas. So Alabama with Eric Bledsoe, Jeff Malone, Charles Barkley, George McGinnis, and Ben Wallace versus Arkansas with Fat Lever, Sidney Moncrief, Glenn Rice, Scottie Pippen, and Joe Barry Carroll.
Oh, this is a really tough one.
This one could be tough because, I mean, the main standouts, you've got a Charles Barkley, Ben Wallace, George McGinnis team against Scottie Pippen, Joe Barry Carroll, Sidney Moncrief.
Sidney Moncrief and Pippen are elite.
Yeah,
defenders.
I'm going with Pippen.
I'll go Arkansas
as well.
All right, we're going to Arkansas. So 16 does end up taking it over, barely over 17. Now we go to 9 versus 24. So we got Virginia versus Minnesota. So Minnesota is the team with Jalen Suggs, Dick Garmaker, Devin George, Kevin McHale, and Chet Holmgren. Imagine Kevin McHale and Chet Holmgren in their prime.
We get nothing within the paint.
No. Versus Virginia with Allen Iverson, Del Curry, Bob Dandridge, Moses Malone, and Alonzo Mourning. Did not expect Virginia.
Virginia is loaded.
I did not expect Virginia to have that much talent. All right. Now we go to number 8 versus number 25. Oklahoma versus Michigan. Oklahoma is the Mark Price, John Starks, Josh Richardson, Blake Griffin, and Wayman Tisdale team versus Michigan with Magic Johnson, Devin Booker, George Gervin, Chris Webber, and Draymond Green.
Close. Michigan.
All right. Now we get Nevada. We get number 36 Nevada, who was the first upset, knocking off number 29 Maryland, but having to run up against number 4 Ohio.
Oh.
So Maryland's team was Steve Francis, Reggie Lewis, Josh Hart, Jeff Green, and Marvin Webster. And Ohio has got Steph Curry, John Havlicek, LeBron James, Jerry Lucas, and Nate Thurmond.
Oh my gosh. I forgot Nate Thurman's from Ohio too.
Ohio. Nevada's not getting a Cinderella run. All right, now we've got 13 versus 20. Kentucky versus South Carolina. South Carolina, the number 13 team. Kentucky is Rajon Rondo, Allen Houston, Darrell Griffith, Dave Cowens, and Wes Unseld. That's a decent starting 5.
Really good team.
Versus South Carolina. All right, South Carolina with Ja Morant, Chris Middleton, Alex English, Larry Nance Sr., and Kevin Garnett.
That's close.
Yeah, both teams are deep.
I feel like I have to give it to South Carolina. KG was an animal.
Yeah, Larry Nance and KG.
I think Kevin Garnett is the difference. KG versus Wes Unseld as the center matchup. That's pretty.
I was gonna say 2 MVPs right there.
Yeah, those are 2 great. That'd be a fantastic matchup to watch. But we went South Carolina taking this one. All right. Yeah.
So now I was like low-key thinking the other team, and then you said KG, and I was like, oh,
yeah, that changed it all. All right, this is crazy how it worked out this way. We've got number 21 Washington State against number 12 Washington D.C. Ends up working out perfectly there. So number 21 Washington is John Stockton, Zach LaVine, Jamal Crawford, Paolo Banchero, and Byron Beck versus DC with Dave Bing, Austin Carr, Adrian Dantley, Elgin Baylor, and Kevin Durant. Now, that's the one thing. There weren't really many big guys, so Kevin Durant or Elgin Baylor is the 5 here because they really didn't have any bigs.
Would Byron Beck be feasting against this team?
Would Byron Beck be feasting against Kevin Durant and Elgin Baylor in the post? This is
Well, they got Paolo, too.
Yeah, Paolo, too. Yeah, man.
I might have to give it to Washington.
Jamal Crawford.
Zach,
right?
wait, who'd you say?
So I'll say it again. Washington has John Stockton, Zach LaVine, Jamal Crawford, Paolo Banchero, and Byron Beck.
We got bad news. Byron Beck was only 6'9".
Oh, this is a battle of small ball at its finest. Versus a DC with Dave Bing, Austin Carr, Adrian Dantley, Elgin Baylor, and Kevin Durant. You've got 3 of the best scoring small forwards of all time with Austin Carr and Dave Bing against that Washington team that has a lot of good guards.
John Stockton's one of the best defensive guards in history.
This is tough. DC or Washington State? This is a tough one.
I'm going to go with DC.
I think I'm going State.
Oh,
just because they're more balanced. I don't know. Both teams are stacked.
Can't get over Kevin Durant. I just looked up Dave Bing, and he averaged 20 and 6.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I had Dave Bing as a 2K card back in the day. He was a baller.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking if the worst player in your starting 5 was Dave Bing or Austin Carr, because AC, we know him as a funny commentator. He was a dog, dude. So DC will take it in the Battle of Washington, but that'd be a fun. That was a fun matchup.
Yeah.
Next up, we've got 5 versus 28. So we've got number 5 New Jersey versus number 28 Mississippi. So Mississippi's team was Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, Monte Ellis, Chet Walker, Spencer Haywood, and Al Jefferson against New Jersey with Jalen Brunson, J.R. Smith, Rick Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Shaq.
Oh my God.
New Jersey.
I was thinking the other ones had a chance because they were pretty well balanced, and then you threw out the most dominant player in NBA history.
Dude, Rodman and Shaq in the front court.
That's nuts.
With the spacing of Brunson, J.R. Smith, and Rick Barry. Oh my gosh. All right.
That's a team to watch out for later in this bracket.
That is definitely one to watch out for later in the bracket. But now we're on the other side of the bracket. We've got number 31 Connecticut against the 2-seeded New York. New York's kind of crazy, but we'll start with Connecticut. Connecticut that's the Calvin Murphy, John Williamson, Ryan Gomes, Charles Smith, and Marcus Camby team against New York with Donovan Mitchell, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Carmelo Anthony, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
That's going to be a hard team to beat.
That's the thing. That might be the team that ends up winning this whole thing because that's ridiculous. So New York knocking out Connecticut. Now we have the 15 versus 18 matchup, Florida versus Indiana. Florida with Gilbert Arenas, Mitch Richmond, Tracy McGrady, Artis Gilmore, and David Robinson against Indiana.
Indiana was good.
With Darius Garland, Gordon Hayward, Larry Bird, Zach Randolph, and Sean Kemp.
Here's the thing. They got all the shooting, but you're not driving it in on Artis Gilmore and David Robinson. So Kemp and Zebo are rendered useless.
That is true. I think that for that, I go Florida.
I'll go Florida.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, they got all the shooting, but they can't. They're going to get all the offensive rebounds and everything.
Yeah, it's not a very good matchup there in the front court. Now we've got number 23 Missouri versus the 10th seed Illinois. So Missouri, JoJo White, Bradley Beal, Jason Tatum, David Lee, and Gene Moore against Illinois with Isaiah Thomas, Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Mark Aguirre, Anthony Davis, and George Mikan.
Illinois.
Oh my gosh.
Illinois. Next up, we've got number 7, Louisiana. Surprised they were ranked that high versus number 26, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin is the younger team with Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, then Latrell Sprewell, Jalen Johnson, and Jim Jones against Louisiana. Let's see why they're ranked number 7. Oh, that's because they're all right. Louisiana, Joe Dumars, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Bob Pettit, and Bill Russell.
Yup.
Louisiana.
I did not come into this thinking Louisiana would be a top. It would be a number 17, but they did their thing.
Got Bill Russell there. Dang.
Yeah. All right. Now we have number 3 Pennsylvania versus number 30 Oregon. Oregon with Damon Stoudemire, Terrence Ross, Jeremy Grant, AC Green, and Domantas Sabonis versus Pennsylvania with Kyle Lowry, Pistol Pete Maravich, Kobe Bryant, Maurice Lucas, and Wilt.
Penn.
Kobe and Wilt is unfair.
Yeah, there's some of these duos are ridiculous. Like I don't know how Kobe and Wilt.
Kobe, Wilt, Steph, LeBron. Like these kind of duos are nuts.
And what was New York? Didn't Michael?
New York had a whole starting 5. New York's a whole 5.
Yeah, Michigan was great. Yeah, all these top teams are crazy, but still in the middle here a little bit. Number 14 versus number 19. Georgia versus Tennessee. So Tennessee has Oscar Robertson, Penny Hardaway, Bobby Bingo Smith, Bailey Howell, and James Wiseman against Georgia. I have a feeling this might be a close one. Okay, Georgia with Walt Frazier, World B. Free, Jaylen Brown, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and Dwight Howard.
Ooh. Jaylen Brown, Dwight Howard.
It's got to be Georgia because Dwight Howard is killing James Wiseman in any game.
It's unfair.
All right, and then two more in this second round. So we've got number 11 Texas versus number 22 West Virginia. The West Virginia is the Darren Williams, OJ Mayo, Jerry West, Hal Greer, and Gary Gregor versus Texas with Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Grant Hill, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Chris Bosh.
That's solid, Texas.
And the final one for this round, number 6 North Carolina versus number 27 Colorado. So Colorado with Chauncey Billups, Derek White, J-Dub, Joe Klein, and Jason Smith versus North Carolina with Chris Paul, Lou Hudson, David Thompson, James Worthy, and Bob McAdoo.
North Carolina.
All right, so now we kind of have, for the most part, all the meh teams out of there. So now we've gone through every single team. After 2 rounds, who do you guys think is going to win this? Who has been the best starting 5 so far?
New York.
Yeah, New York is going to be hard to beat. But let's keep on going here. We'll see if anyone can upset them. Next, we've got California versus Arkansas. So this would be the 1 versus 16 matchup. California with Jason Kidd, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Love, and Bill Walton versus Fat Lever, Sidney Moncrief, Glenn Rice, Scottie Pippen, and Joe Barry Carroll.
California.
Cali. That'd be a good defensive matchup, though. They'd have their hands full.
Yeah, for a 116, that's not terrible. 8-9 matchup, Michigan versus Virginia. This is going to be the closest one we have this round. Virginia with Allen Iverson, Del Curry, Bob Dandridge, Moses Malone, and Alonzo Mourning versus Michigan with Magic Johnson, Devin Booker, George Gervin, Chris Webber, and Draymond Green.
Joey?
Virginia's got – they're really balanced. They got kind of everything kind of covered at an elite level, but I think I'm going to go Michigan.
See, that's the thing. Virginia has both Moses Malone and Alonzo Mourning, and Michigan's front court is – I mean, it's Draymond Green and Chris Webber. It's on the smaller side of things.
Yeah.
But then you have Magic Johnson as the point guard against Allen Iverson. It's like,
Yeah, with Devin Booker. I'm going Michigan.
Yeah.
all right, Michigan takes it. Michigan takes that round. All right, now we're in the 4-13 matchup, Ohio versus South Carolina.
Ohio. Oh, wait. Sorry. You have to read off the teams. My bad.
Ohio with Steph Curry, John Havlicek, LeBron, Jerry Lucas, and Nate Thurmond. Against Ja Morant, Chris Middleton, Alex English, Larry Nance Sr., and Kevin Garnett.
Ohio.
There's the Ohio. Well, South Carolina, I mean, if they're, I guess Ja Morant would have to become really something special to make that a matchup.
That's the thing. You even think of like going KG versus Thurman. Thurman was like one of the first people to ever have a quadruple double in the NBA. Like that
Yeah,
dude
that's
was a
very,
monster.
very true.
Like it's not like he's going to be walked over by KG.
Very, very true. All right, next up we've got number 5 New Jersey versus number 12 DC. Washington, D.C. is that small forward kind of team with Dave Bing, Austin Carr, Adrian Dantley, Elgin Baylor, and Kevin Durant. Going up against Jalen Brunson, J.R. Smith, Rick Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Shaq. This is the matchup where the size just is, that's too much.
Jersey.
Rodman
and Shaq. Until you get there, I was like, they have a chance.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe they could just shoot over them. And I'm like, but
Yeah.
that's no.
All right, now we've got New York versus Florida. New York with Donovan Mitchell, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Carmelo Anthony, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar against Gilbert Arenas, Mitch Richmond, Tracy McGrady, Artis Gilmore, and David Robinson. I think Florida is good, but
It's a really good matchup, but no. New York.
it's New York. Now, number 7 versus number 10, Louisiana versus Illinois. Louisiana with Joe Dumars, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Bob Pettit, and Bill Russell. Huge team. Against Illinois with Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Mark Aguirre, Anthony Davis, and George Mikan.
Oh, that's tough.
This is a tough one. This might be the toughest one we've had so far.
What are you thinking, Nick?
Anthony McGuire.
Anthony McGuire.
Who?
That's who's they're starting.
Yeah, Mark Aguirre, Anthony Davis. I mean,
yeah.
Oh, Mark Aguirre?
yeah, Mark Aguirre. He
He's
was like a
like-
20-point score for the Mavs for a while. if not
He
mistaken.
was Mark Aguirre was incredible. He played with the Pistons for a while too, like the Bad Boys.
Yeah. So you got Zeke, Dwayne Wade, Mark Aguirre, Anthony Davis, and George Mikan against Joe Dumars. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You have Zeke versus Joe Dumars,
Yeah,
Clyde
no,
Drexler, Karl Malone, Bob Pettit, and Bill Russell. I mean, they're just so huge, but is there a question with lack of spacing or anything?
I'll go Louisiana.
I think I'm gonna go Louisiana. That's
Louisiana.
Is that an upset?
No.
No.
7/10. I mean, it was close.
Oh, that's close.
All right, we have 2 more teams to, I guess, get to the Elite 8 of this tournament here. So we've got now number 3, Pennsylvania versus number 14, Georgia. Pennsylvania with Kyle Lowry, Pete Maravich, Kobe Bryant, Maurice Lucas, Wilt Chamberlain against Walt Frazier, World B. Free, Jaylen Brown, Sharif Abdur-Rahim, and Dwight Howard.
Pennsylvania.
No
Pennsylvania.
one's stopping that duo in Penn.
No. All right. And then the final matchup of this round, number 6, North Carolina versus number 11, Texas. North Carolina with Chris Paul, Lou Hudson, David Thompson, James Worthy, and Bob McAdoo versus Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Grant Hill, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Chris Bosh.
Ooh, I think I have to go Texas here.
Ooh, Joey, what are you thinking?
Honestly, this is very tough.
CP3, Lou Hudson, David Thompson, James Worthy, and Bob McAdoo.
Those are studs.
Or Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Grant Hill, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Chris Bosh. I mean, both teams really.
I think I'm with Nick. I think I have to go Texas.
All right, Texas upsets 11/6. So we are now in the Elite 8, final 8 teams that we have here.
We love upsets here.
Heck yeah. All right. So the first matchup is California versus Michigan. This is what we might get a crazy upset in this one. Let's see here. So California is Jason Kidd, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Love, and Bill Walton. Michigan is Magic Johnson, Devin Booker, George Gervin, Chris Webber, and Draymond Green.
California.
I feel like I still have to give. I do have to give it to Cali.
I think I do have to give it to Cali too.
Draymond ain't competing with George Mikan.
No, although yeah, I think California. But that I would love to see that like on 2K or something. I might go put these on 2K. See what happens.
That's what I was just thinking. I was like, whoever wins this, I got to put them into 2K. My GM.
Yeah. All right. Next matchup: 4 versus 5. Ohio versus New Jersey.
Shaq and Rodman.
Ohio with Steph Curry, John Havlicek, LeBron, Jerry Lucas, and Nate Thurmond versus New Jersey with Jalen Brunson, J.R. Smith, Rick Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Shaq. Is this New Jersey?
Yeah.
They're going New Jersey. Steph and LeBron are out.
See that they just got they got a good front court and the most dominant back court or front court and a good back court.
Yeah, decent enough backcourt.
Oh,
heartbreaking for Ohioans. No one can say that we're biased, that we're too biased, though.
I mean, the South Carolina matchup was close.
Yeah, the South Carolina matchup was pretty close, too. But now, other side of the bracket, 2 versus 7, New York versus Louisiana. New York with Donovan Mitchell, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Carmelo Anthony, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus Joe Dumars, Clyde Drexler, Karl Malone, Bob Pettit, and Bill Russell. They have the defenders, but no one's stopping Michael Jordan and Kareem in this matchup.
Carmelo.
Yeah, literally. No more explanation.
That's crazy. It's like, who do you even help off of? Technically, like the worst 3-point shooter is Michael Jordan. So you're helping off of Michael Jordan. I don't even know. All right. And then the 3 versus 6 matchup, Pennsylvania versus Texas. Or no. The 3 versus 11 matchup is Texas upset. That's right.
Yep.
So Pennsylvania with Kyle Lowry, Pete Veremich, Kobe, Maurice Lucas, and Wilt. Against Texas with Trae Young, Jimmy Butler, Grant Hill, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Chris Bosh.
I think their Cinderella story ends here.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I picked Texas, though.
No, I'll go Pennsylvania. I got to go Pennsylvania. So now we're in the Final Four. The Final Four. The teams making it California, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Those are the 4 best teams out of this thing. All right. So the matchup on the left side, 1 versus 5, California versus New Jersey. California with Jason Kidd, James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, Kevin Love, and Bill Walton versus Jalen Brunson, J.R. Smith, Rick Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Shaq. Now, does J.R. Smith ruin it for New Jersey?
Lights out from deep.
Lights out from deep.
The Henny God himself. I think Jersey wins this.
Wow. All right, Nick, what do you think?
Yeah, I could see Jersey win. I'll go with Jersey.
New Jersey's moving on. Number 1, California has been upset. So now we have the 2-3 matchup on the other side. New York versus Pennsylvania. New York with Donovan Mitchell, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Carmelo Anthony, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus Kyle Lowry, Pete Maravich, Kobe Bryant, Maurice Lucas, and Wilt Chamberlain.
New York.
The only ones who could probably compete with them are Pennsylvania with Kobe versus MJ and Wilt versus Kareem, but who's guarding Kyle Lowry versus who?
Donovan Mitchell. That's even though he was a good defender in his time. So, of course, to the championship, New York versus New Jersey. Of course, we end up getting here.
Man, everybody in that area hates us right now. They're all fighting.
Why there's so many good basketball players from there?
Yeah, right in that area. All right, so the championship matchup, New York versus New Jersey. New York with Donovan Mitchell, Michael Jordan, Julius Erving, Carmelo Anthony, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar versus New Jersey with Jalen Brunson, J.R. Smith, Rick Barry, Dennis Rodman, and Shaquille O'Neal.
This is where it hurts him.
Yeah, this is where
JR.
J.R. Smith against Michael Jordan. You don't.
Yeah, New York.
New York.
New York wins it. New York wins it. New York with the best starting five.
You have to send Jackson a picture of that bracket so he can post it on Instagram.
Yup.
I will. I definitely will. Wow, that was a lot, but got to hear about a whole lot of different players with a lot.
Good
of
idea,
different
Miles.
teams.
That was fun.
That was fun.
Let us know if you guys think that New York should have won, or if there were any other upsets that you wanted to predict. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Keep on enjoying March Madness.
Yes, sir.
These next, few days or few weeks. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Go Gators. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.